Hey guys, it is Tristan with nerdettes-newsstand, and we are back for another Bad Ideas inspired by recent events, and we are going to talk about women in superhero movies. Can they lead them? Can they successfully lead them? I guess is a better way to put it. We recently had Batgirl canceled, and that was super depressing, but we also have She-Hulk coming up. We have some really great leading ladies to look forward to. So, how are you today, Bianca?
I'm doing good. How are you today, Tristan?
I am good. By the way, I am going to put Bianca's short in the description so you guys can check it out, specifically talking about She-Hulk, because I've seen this a lot lately. And I've seen this kind of narrative that She-Hulk is going to be, oh my God, better than Bruce Banner because reasons. I don't understand when the trailer is cut how it was that people can think this. But to my understanding, do you know anything when it comes to She-Hulk? Is there an origin change going on or something?
It's still not confirmed how they're
That's
going
what
to
I
do
thought.
the there's speculation from that one article a long time ago saying it would be sexist if she got her powers from a blood transfusion uh like it was in the comics, and I was like, shut up.
Wait,
Why are
why?
you
Why would that be
lying?
sexist?
Because it's from a man.
What?
And then somebody in the comment section was like, well, it's not sexist, but if they want to like modernize it and do something different, then yeah, I can like understand that or see that. And I'm like, well, that's going to be difficult in and of itself because like she's going to have to do something gamma related, and
Yeah.
she doesn't
You
go
know,
out, why would, like, what kind
there's
of
a
freak
little
accident?
Marvel featurette that said that literally has the actress here. I just looked it up that says Jennifer Walters is an attorney who has accidentally taken in Hawk's blood and she becomes the She-Hulk.
Yeah, so she's
So
still
this
getting his
Yeah.
accidentally. Why accidentally? What does
I
that
don't know,
mean?
like, how do you accidentally infuse yourself with somebody else's blood? But
I
regardless,
do
this is still involved.
remember I do remember from the 2008 Hulk movie, because a lot of people are watching that to kind of, remember, because this is directly into that, since they're using the same villain and all that stuff. There was a part where he was trying to control his anger. He worked at some factory in some sort of Spanish speaking country. He accidentally cut his finger, and there was blood going down, and it's full of sodas, by the way, and
Mhm.
it kind of landed into the soda, and so the sodas went out. Stan Lee drank it, and I believe he just got some poisoning or something, like a really bad stomach ache. But like he didn't die, or he didn't, become a Hulk or anything, unless they want to change that. Because if that's
Yeah,
true, then that's a really big deal. Because if they want to do the whole, yes, you can become a Hulk with somebody's blood, then this guy needs armor.
yeah, I would say so. This is gonna it doesn't seem like that's gonna be possible to have so many characters in the MCU blood spilled and have the idea of accidentally ingesting it somehow work. There's gotta be more to the story. I just wonder how they're gonna take it. But as far as the she's better than him stuff, does that just come from the trailers?
It's just the trailers. Like, so uh I don't know how I developed this, but like trying to learn stuff like body language has always been a big thing for me, because I'm really bad at it, and I'm trying to be considerate of other people's feelings and stuff. Gross. Uh, but
Ew.
there was these things that she would do. Like, she looked super happy that she got that boulder and just, got a little bit farther than him. She's like, yeah, and I'm like, that's just being proud. She's not doing it to be mean or anything. Uh, and like other scenes with her, like where she's where he's trying to like get on his freaking hands, and he's like, being a Hulk is all about balance, and she just like wraps her legs around her hand, which I didn't think that was possible. uh and they're like, oh my gosh, she's doing this on purpose, and I'm like, they're cousins, bro.
Right.
And
It
in the
kind of gave me
comics,
that like brother
mhm,
sister vibe, like picking
yeah, in
on
the
each
comics
other.
they have said that they are so close that they consider each other as brother and sister sometimes. People were like, well, how can she do that bending leg thingy in the very first teaser trailer? She's doing yoga.
Right.
That already solves it. Bruce can't do that. People were asking why couldn't he do that? And I'm like, I'm sorry, have you seen his legs? Have you seen his arms? He can't twist like that. Not with that body. There's like they're little stubs. It looks like he would hurt himself if he tried.
Right, and just like if she was the more beefier version of She-Hulk, then wouldn't be able to do that. She still she's full of muscle, everything else, but she still has a thinner frame where she's able to be a little bit more agile and flexible, so to speak. I didn't even Oh, okay. I understand wanting really good female characters. I do. But I also feel like just with this, another example of women in leading cinema is Prey. I know it's not superheroes, but every single time, for the most part, I would say 90% of the time we hear this stuff. It's a situation of the boy who cried wolf. How many times do you have to get it wrong before you realize you need to stop judging a book by its cover? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. This was said about, well, Prey, and it's being loved. This was said about Thor: Love and Thunder, and we find out that obviously, I know it's a newer movie, so I won't spit it out blatantly, but you know, Valkyrie doesn't take, or I'm sorry, the mighty Thor, Jane Foster, doesn't take over for reasons. We hear this over and over and over again, yet there's still a small fraction of people that are willing to spew this and judge every single show before it comes out. And I don't quite get it. I think there is kind of this weird thing. Um, you have people, and I this sucks, but this is how I'm going to use it. You have people on the right that cry wolf about everything is woke. You have people on the left that cry wolf that everything is sexist, racist, misogynist. So both of those, all those buzzwords that are included have pretty much become useless. There needs It's lazy, in my opinion, anymore to use those kind of things. And I use sexist and stuff. I'm not obviously perfect, but it's become a very invalidated, lazy criticism, in my opinion, at this point, to just say, well, basically, she is better. It is woke. Game over.
And she's not better. Like this, like they're throwing out so much clips and trailers right now for this She-Hulk thing. I'm trying to keep up with them. This Hulk one came out, yes, no, this Hulk one came out today, and
Didn't they
I was
move
at
the
work.
Didn't they
And
move it up too? It comes out the 18th?
I thought it was always the 18th.
Oh, I thought they moved it up. I was thinking it was September.
I heard that they might need to move it up to September
Maybe that's where I
from
heard it.
the special effects, which apparently they are treating very, very badly.
Mhm.
Just heard that apparently, like, if nobody is on Marvel's time, they will blacklist you and will never work with
Wow.
you again.
And I
And I'm
don't
like,
think it's
okay,
just She-Hulk. I think it's all of Marvel CGI.
yeah, it's all of Marvel CGI. And I'm like, listen, I understand, but you guys need to chillax, you know? Let somebody wait. It's no, there's no problem with waiting. Like, if you keep feeding us this fast, we're gonna get used to it, and we're gonna blame other people. Like, we need this now. We don't want to wait for movies.
And I think, me personally, I really want the She-Hulk show to be good. I really like some of the properties that they're coming out with. I am more than willing to wait a little bit to have the quality product. And it's not just the quality product, it's about the people working behind it also. Like, I don't want to see these people busting their ass for my entertainment to feel like they are, slaves to Disney. Yeah, give them normal hours. Don't make them work so much overtime, and we'll wait a few months. I don't see the issue with that at all. I know it's capitalism, but regardless, I don't think at this point most people wouldn't pretty much feel the same, because they want to see a good show too. They want to see a happy company too. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And people, and I get it. The first trailer came out, even, a couple of the trailers, I was like, ooh, this is rough. This is a little rough. Like, I can suspend disbelief for a while because I just want a She-Hulk show, but this is a little rough. And it does feel like it's gotten better each and every single time. I think it's probably a very hard thing to do anyways. But I also did see that the people on the creative staff were calling it sexist to critique the CGI.
Which is dumb. We all know
Which
that's
is
dumb.
really dumb.
That's the all other vocal minority.
Yep, exactly. We can talk about both sides here, people. Yeah, it's really dumb. We're allowed to critique things. Unfortunately, not doing it to hurt anybody's feelings, but we're doing it because we want good for these properties, and it did look rough. And we do want something good. It's honestly only a very few people that are just, out there critiquing it to call it dog shit. It's most of the people are out there that are wanting to call it, because they want this to be good. And I think that really sucks that those people get the limelight, the ones that are really, really terrible.
Oh.
So let's talk a little bit about, I don't know if we should talk about Batgirl, or we need to talk about Batgirl. We're going to talk about this twice. So this is another one that we've seen people saying, it's woke. That's why. To my understanding, unless you know something different, the only reason they're calling it woke is because Leslie Grace is the lead. Is there anything else that I missed?
People think that Batgirl will be teaching Batman about how to be a hero, which have not been in any of the leaks. And then the only other reason why people have been calling it woke is just because she's a Afro-Latina, who's also like biracial.
That's what I thought. So I was bummed. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was a lot of the reasons it seemed smart simply because I don't want to see
money-wise.
Yeah. And I don't want to see, I'm not gonna lie, like I don't want to see an all-female Trinity if preventable. But I also feel like they could have made it work. I just want Clark Kent. I want Bruce Wayne. These are characters that I love. Like I really like these characters. And really, like, these Superwoman and Batgirl, they should have, in my opinion at least, still allowed them to go forward. But instead of making them in the Trinity, had them like they are in the comics. They're family. They're Clark's cousin. They're Barbara Gordon, who works for the
They
police
married that
commissioner.
one time, but it was not a cousin. There was a Casually Comics about that.
Oh, I love her. Speaking of which, to Sasha, I know you don't watch my stuff. Congratulations on your pregnancy.
Woot woot.
That's so cute. But yeah, like, I know a lot of people, even in my comment section, were going, "Oh, this is what happens when you get woke." And I can't wrap my brain around it. I'm not gonna lie. There was nothing leading us to the idea that this was a woke movie besides one simple race swap. So when it comes to Batgirl, I want to kind of dispel this idea that's been floating around. And I don't remember if it was New York Post or Hollywood Reporter, but one of the main trades reported that the reason this movie was sidelined or taken out, or however you want to say it was shelved, was because that test scores were so bad that the audience it was irredeemable. It was terrible. Every little word you can think to add in there. When you've been following this movie from the beginning, and that's actually not the story. That's actually not what happened. We actually have, I want to share this article here. And most of the test scores that was in the movie was really good to my, or was at least decent to my understanding, correct?
Yes. It was in the 60s, the low 60s, not the high 60s, not the mid 60s, just lower 60s.
And that was at a very early version of it.
Yes, that is without the special effects and everything. They
Oh,
got
that's really
the
good.
raw version, I guess I should say.
So that equals to more like the quality of, what did it say, Shazam? I thought it said Shazam. Maybe it was the other article.
Some of them will mention Shazam.
Yeah, but so this whole narrative that's kind of being spun is pretty ridiculous. Let me, actually it was. I've got it right here. It was Shazam. I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew it, even though you could probably argue otherwise. A new report suggests, contrary to what we've heard, Batgirl was not canceled for low quality. It had similar test scores to Shazam 2, which is going forward. Even if it's being delayed, it's still going forward. So the whole idea that this was shelved because of bad writing, wokeness, whatever reason you want to give for it, seems to kind of be fabricated. This is really sucky. I'm sorry. I feel so bad for the people involved. I get it. Like, I know the directors will get other jobs. They did a phenomenal job on Miss Marvel. I think they'll have no issue getting other jobs, but I really feel bad for Leslie Grace because she was in the Heights and that didn't do as well. And now she's in this,
And that's because of WB too.
yeah, a lot of it
They
is because they're a mess.
delayed it so long, and then COVID didn't make it better. And like, I was supposed to watch this in the freaking movie theater.
It went straight to streaming, to, if I remember
HBO
correctly,
Max,
right?
I believe.
That's what I thought. Yeah, and that they did that for a whole year, and that ruined a lot of movies. Like, I loved Wonder Woman 84, but there's nothing like going to the movie theater to see it. Come on now. So where did these original rumors come from that it was so bad besides that article? Did everybody just run with that?
Yes. There's no proof. There's nothing. It didn't give a date. It didn't say
Wow.
anything. It just said that she was irredeemable and all this other stuff. And I'm like, whoa, 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 where are you getting this from? Because I've seen the bad reviews, people giving bad reviews on this movie, and it was not at all what that person said in that article. Like, nowhere near as bad. And every single actor and actress in it got really high marks. Some of them were like, listen, story is mid, but the actors, they made it work. And I'm just like, hello?
I can't believe it. I feel like I said earlier, they're very easily in the comics, they have that synergy with the Bat family. I understand introducing Batgirl this early would be hard, especially with Michael Keaton, but this could, look at Batman, right? We've understood since the very beginning the Batman with Robert Pattinson was an Elseworld story. You could at least give it a chance that way, unless it was too ingrained in a shared universe. I don't think a lot of people would have a problem with having a standalone story. It seems like it worked out pretty well for the Batman and for Joker. So why not for this movie? What is so different about this movie? Even if they felt like they couldn't profit a bunch, at least breaking even, I don't know. It seems like we're missing a good chunk of the real, like, the story.
And what I'm surprised at that, some of the articles I gave you, some of them talked about the first Shazam movie. This article was talking about the second Shazam
Right.
movie, and they all rated on the audience score the exact same.
That is so weird.
And It, the movie It. I didn't see the movie It.
Yeah.
I don't like scary movies.
That's so cute. No, I I feel like we're missing something. I know Zavlov, my apologies, is coming in there and kind of cleaning house. I get that. That's his job. That's what he's paid to do. It makes sense. But it just seems like there's not a whole lot of real information coming out. And to my understanding, once they make this kind of tax write-off deal, they cannot legally even ever put it out.
I
Ever.
know, and I'm like,
Like,
bro. Like
so I
people were
went,
saying, hey, maybe in a few years they'll release it again. I'm like, no, they won't. it's it's completely scrapped. Taxes,
yeah,
bro. They got their money
yeah.
back.
And I
They're not
went
gonna
and
release
after
it.
this,
That's
after,
kind of like free.
yeah. And after this was all, announced and everything, I went and read them, and we'll talk about them more, well, tomorrow, but when you're listening to this last night, um, and the the leaks were good. The leaks were really good. I'm just like, man, WB does not know how to treat their fans at this point. They are just shitting all over any DC fan. And it really sucks because going along with this kind of theme, you have leading female superheroes in the MCU that have done well and that have succeeded and that they put in the time and the investment in. Like the very first movie was Captain Marvel. I haven't have you seen it?
I well, with what Dr. Soup said, I was like, maybe I'll give it a try.
What'd you think?
I didn't give it a try yet.
Oh, yeah, I should give it a try, but I just haven't yet. But it made $1 billion, and I know a lot of people deflect with saying, "Well, it was wedged in between Endgame and I don't remember what else.
Look,
Black
it
Panther.
was Endgame, just Endgame, right?
Endgame was it? Okay, and people felt like they needed to see that. That could be a decent portion of it. That could be,
I think that's
but
a really good portion of it. There's also, like, completists that, like, they have to watch every single
yes.
Marvel movie. Then there's, I heard about this donation GoFundMe thing that she was doing, and that raised, I think, $1 million or something like that, and was to
Oh,
have little girls see the movie,
yeah,
but
that
I
was
was
cute.
like, "Wait, did that ever happen?" Like, I didn't see any photos of, the end product because I wanted to see the little girls in the movie.
Yeah, I remember seeing pictures of them in their little like Captain Marvel outfits and
You
stuff.
saw
Like,
it?
yeah, I'll have to see if I can find them and send them to you because I remember seeing that. And I thought it was really cute and a kind of sweet thing to do as an actor. I love when actors do that kind of stuff. But um, it made $1 billion. But then you go to Wonder Woman, or no, not Wonder Woman, Black Widow, and I thought Black Widow was really good. Now I can't compare it to Captain Marvel because I didn't see it, and I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of Black Widow, and I have terrible taste. Let's be real here. I loved it. I thought it did a really good job, but because they released it simultaneously on streaming and on Disney Plus, it again kind of faltered at the box office to say the least. So you go over to DC. What do we have? Wonder Woman? I mean, that did pretty good, to be fair. That did pretty good.
Even though it was
Um,
an okay movie.
wait. I okay, sure.
That's
Sure,
me
sure.
being nice.
Oh my, did you watch Wonder Woman 84?
Wonder Woman 84 sucked even more than the first Wonder Woman.
Okay, at least you're fair there. Like, but like you're crazy. Okay. But that made $800 million, I believe, right around that area. So,
In movie theaters?
what's that?
In movie theaters?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wait, we talking about 84 or the first one?
The first one, though. The second
Oh, okay, I
one,
was gonna say that
yeah.
made sense because the other one was streaming too.
Yeah, the other one was streaming too. That only made like $100 million. It wasn't good. But generally, and I know people aren't gonna like this. I'm sorry. I'm gonna pull a Ben Shapiro and facts don't care about your feelings. But when it comes to superheroic movies, women led do not generally do as well. And I think that they can. I think it just takes some finesse from the writers and from the team involved. And I also think it really depends on the character.
I don't want to
Like,
hear no Sailor Moon in the comments section.
wait, there's a Sailor Moon movie?
I heard they're thinking about one.
Ooh, wait. That's not necessarily a good thing, though, especially depending on who does it.
Yeah, it's only a rumor. Like, I literally have no source for it, so it's most likely not true. No, but a lot of people will say something like, well, Sailor Moon is female led and had a really big audience and stuff, and boys liked it too. But I was like, the cartoon that came out in the 90s was catering to boys.
Right.
The director didn't like it. He didn't understand what made it popular, the manga, and so he changed it to cater to boys. And then with the new Sailor Moon, the reboot, that came out 2014, I believe. It's some changes here and there, but it's following the manga, and people are saying that they don't like it. And I'm like, well,
Oh,
this
wow.
is the story. Like, so many guys are like, I don't understand. Why'd you change it? I don't like it anymore. And I'm like, well, this is how it is, and this is how it was supposed to be, because it's catering to girls. I mean, to be honest, even some girls were saying that they didn't like it, and they've never read the manga, by the way. These are people who never read the manga, so they didn't know how it was actually like. They just saw the 90s cartoon, and I'm like, well, it's
Right.
drama. It's literally drama. Girl stuff is usually drama anyway.
I don't mind a little bit of drama, but like I think there is a pretty decent subset of the audience that still wants the action, still wants the super heroics. And I'm not saying I like in reality I would like more female led. I would. But I know they don't gross as well, so I know sometimes they have to be introduced by way of like a Black Widow route where you're in a like an Avengers type movie and then you eventually get your own story. Whereas you've got Captain America and Iron Man and everybody else introduced. But when I
Black
was looking,
Widow.
yeah. Um, but when I was looking this up, besides those two, there wasn't a lot of like actual superhero movies that had done really well. Incredibles, right? But that's animated, so that's a little bit different, but I would still count it. Like
I mean, that one still also got a lot of hate because it was female led, but also because it was a copy and paste of the first one.
right, and I didn't
But I
the
also
and
didn't mind it. I actually like it better than the first one. I'm the minority. I'm literally the minority that I like the second one better than the first one. I mean, there was talk that people thought the villain was a lesbian
mhm,
and that Elastigirl was also a lesbian, and there was like some weird stuff people were thinking about the movie, and I'm like, she's married, guys. She's not
mhm.
gonna suddenly turn lesbian and leave her husband and her 2 kids that she loves very much.
Oh my goodness. I see I haven't seen The Incredibles. I've heard good things about it though. Most I know is from you saying wasn't the second movie the dad was a stay-at-home father or something along those
Yeah,
lines?
and that's why I loved it. Because in the first movie, he was spending time with his wife, definitely, from well, you didn't see it, so there's, like, snippets of them playing with
Uh-huh.
each other, using their powers, um but you don't see him hang out with the kids often. In this one, he's fully hanging out with the children. And, I've always loved stories with single dads in it hanging out with the kids. So that's most likely due to my bias. And he's like trying to relate the kids, help them with
Right.
homework, help his daughter get a boyfriend. And he's being so bad at it.
Oh, that's cute though. I love that kind of stuff. Yet I don't ever watch those kind of movies. I
Well, you're
don't
not
get
a
it.
movie watching person.
I
Yeah.
know. Like I would much rather like, actually read it. I don't know. I've always been one of those people just because it feels like there's a lot more deep in-depth description. And I really like that kind of world building and thought bubbles and being able I do miss
Thought
thought
bubbles are the
bubbles. I
best.
know. Um but when I was looking up like the top female movies, a lot of them were well, Titanic was one. That just did
What?
well.
No, you Noel Titanic, you said?
No, Titanic.
Ew,
What? You don't like Titanic?
I hate the Titanic.
It was
It's so
okay.
freaking boring.
And then you've got like Star Wars, the 2 Star Wars movies with Rey, and what's really weird to me about that, I'm not a Star Wars person, but
Mm.
I hear everybody complain about Rey, but they're number 2 and number 3 on the best female-led move or the highest grossing rather,
I was gonna
female-led
say, is
movies.
it from audience score or is it from money wise or?
Money. We're talking money here.
I will blame myself for watching these movies because I really liked the first one. I like how she was introduced, and on the second one, I didn't know there was a director change.
Mhm.
And so when I saw it, I was like, "What the crap is this? This feels weird. I feel dirty watching this movie." Freaking her and Kylo Ren. I'm like, no, I don't care. This is gross. And then
Oh, I'm glad.
I
Is it that bad?
they kind of talk to each other constantly using is it telepathy? They talk they can speak to each other with their minds.
Yeah.
And he was like she would say stuff like, "Join me. I know you want to," and all that stuff. But the thing is, like, they can see each other too. So there's that famous scene where he's like shirtless and he has a little pudgy pudge stomach.
Yeah.
And people were like, did they really think we were gonna find this hot? And it's been memed to death. And she was like, oh my gosh, can you please put on a shirt? Or did she have her English accent when she was playing the role? No, she doesn't. I don't think so. She's like, can you please put on a shirt? I'm like, please put on a shirt. I don't know what I'm looking at. Not to body shame, of course. His body is beautiful, but it's cringy when it's apparently supposed to be incredibly sexy that she can't handle herself or something like that. And I'm like,
Oof.
don't make it something it's not. Like, you're giving all this sexual tension and I don't want it. And then the third movie, I didn't want to see at all. But my cousin was like, hey, let's watch it just to watch it. Like, you're completing it. And I'm like, oh, fine.
I mean, I get being a completionist and all, but if the first ones were that bad, I don't think I'd want to be
The
that
first one wasn't
person.
even bad, though.
Oh,
It was
okay.
started
So,
with the second one because the director had a different vision for the character. And so it went in a completely different way I didn't want. And
mm,
then the third movie, the director from the first movie came back to finish his vision. And I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't feel really complete because the second one was crap and was like completely different. And it's like, why'd you do this? Who was it? Disney? Or
yeah,
whatever.
Disney Star
Like,
Wars. Yep.
why would you do that? That makes no sense to give another director who has a different vision of what to do with the characters and then get rid of them again. Get rid of them and then and have the same person on again. I don't understand that
Yeah,
thinking.
that makes
Or
zero
maybe because they
sense.
don't think. So
It's got to be then. If that was, are they really are making that much money from the Star Wars name?
I mean, that's a very popular one since like the 80s.
Yeah.
Like I remember watching it. I watched the prequels first, and then I visited my dad one time, and I was looking through his VHS's tapes, and I was like, "Whoa, Star Wars! Why does it look so old?" And he was like, "No, that's the original." And I'm like, "The original? Why does it say number 4? I didn't know a new one came out." And he's like, "No, 4, 5, and 6. Those are the ones that came first." And I'm like, "People are dumb. They don't know how to count." I was a kid, so. And so I watched all of them and I'm like, whoa! It's kind of weird because it's like so much lower quality, not in storytelling, but with like
Right.
effects and fighting and everything, than the prequels. But I still enjoyed it.
I don't know. I just never could get into Star Wars.
I didn't get into Star Trek.
I see. I like Star Trek a bit, but I'm not. I love superheroes that are grounded. And I think that's why I love like Batman and Catwoman so much, or characters like that, because I'm not even a huge Green Lantern person. I like Green Lanterns, but it's not like it would be my first book I chose. I like grounded characters. I'm not super into the like spacey stuff. I don't know.
I'm the same. I'm not really particularly into sci-fi, but my father loves sci-fi.
I mean, I can get into some of it. If the storytelling is, I mean, I guess that's with anything, to be fair. It's just I think everybody has their own little preferences and everything, but there are some spacey stories that are good. Spacey is
I
going to be my new
find it
favorite word.
I find it interesting that if it's in written form, I am much more accepting than in movie form.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Probably because I don't know, I like the visuals, so you don't really have to try hard because it's not a movie.
Right. Plus you almost have this idealized version in your own head. You know what I mean? Like sure you can see the book pages on the pictures, but you also have your own imagination. I sound like I'm 4 now. Use your imagination. But we all kind of do it even if we don't realize it. But as far as the other movies, a lot of like most of them are Disney. As far as like I'm talking top 20 female led movies. You know, you've got your Frozens and your stuff. Another movie I don't know if you're familiar with um is have you ever seen The Hunger Games?
Yes, I saw the first one. I didn't like it.
Are those superhero movies? I'm not familiar.
No, it's like I don't know if I should call it post-apocalyptic stories because you're having kids fight to the death in like forests and stuff.
Ah, okay. Um, so yeah, out of the top 20 highest grossing female led films, only 2 of them are superhero related. How how do they make a great superhero or female superhero led film and actually get that niche in there? That's a really hard question. I don't I don't know if it's possible. I don't, just because there's already so many big players. Like Wonder Woman would be the one I would say like she is the chosen one that could do it. Especially if they brought in Nubia and, introduced the Amazons as a tribe more into it. Um it may take some time, but I think they could do it. I think the female demographic is so small when it comes to comic book readers, and I don't know exactly what it is. Even if it's 30%, I don't know that they could do it. Like really honestly, they could make a good movie. They could make a great movie, but they couldn't make one that's going to compete with Spider-Man No Way Home.
No.
I mean, how would you want what character do you think that could actually compete? Not with that movie, because that movie's outrageously good. Like, well, in the box office.
A female-led movie.
Yes, like Wonder Woman.
Does it have to be DC?
No, I mean just any superheroics.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard.
It is. What maybe
I mean, honestly, why not a Supergirl movie?
like a team movie?
No, I want independent movies first before we get into team stuff.
Yeah, same.
Like,
Especially from DC.
If it makes you feel better that she's gonna be blonde, then just dye her hair.
Yeah. I would love to see like maybe Supergirl would work or Power Girl. I don't know. Power Girl. So maybe that would work.
Power Girl would be so great.
Maybe that would be work to the advantage. You've got, badass chick plus, lots of TNA. Maybe it would work to the advantage. It's such a hard thing to think about because
it would have so much outrage.
Yeah, but that sometimes works. Like that
publicity
sometimes helps. Yeah, free publicity. You can't really argue with that. Power Girl. Maybe Power Girl is the chosen one. That would be really cool. And then they could cross over eventually with Harley like they did in Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor's run. That would be awesome. Okay, we're just dreaming now.
It's okay to dream.
That's right. It is okay to dream. So what do you think I know we're kind of going to go back a little bit into the outrage of it all, but do you think there's any superhero female that they could introduce that wouldn't cause outrage?
Well, I do remember that the people that actually did know that Batgirl was coming out and they didn't read comics, or they pretend they think they know about comics and say,
Mm-hmm.
why do we need a girl Batman? Of course they never heard of her and didn't know they existed. I had people say, I know about comics. I've read about comics. How come I've never heard about She-Hulk before? And I'm like, what?
Oh, jeez.
She's been
You
in
clearly don't, then.
cartoons. She's been in video games. He's like, well, they didn't do a good job if I've never heard of her. And I'm like, I feel like people say that as long as maybe they're getting somebody who looks the part, or they know that it's going to be written well, then that's when they'll accept the movie. Before, the movie comes out, like, they'll just accept the announcement. But from the She-Hulk and the Prey movie, as soon as they were announced, you guys haven't proven that to me at all.
No.
So to me, if anything is going to me personally, I feel like any character, especially female, that gets announced, it's just not going to be received well in general. Like, because the only thing people worry about is if it's going to be woke and if it's going to emasculate any guys.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. For the whole Bond movie, with the girl she played, she was Blue Marvel, I believe, or Captain Marvel in the Doctor Strange 2 movie, which I'm pretty sure you didn't see.
Doctor Strange 2? No, I haven't.
You didn't see. Wait, did you see Captain Marvel? You didn't, right?
No. Nope.
No. So,
I need to
Captain
catch
Marvel
up.
had a friend who was a black friend, and
Oh, Monica's mom, right?
yes,
Maria?
Monica's mom.
Yeah.
So she was playing a character who was apparently from the same organization as Bond, and as soon as her announcement came up, they're like, oh, she's going to take away his job. She's going to talk about Black Lives Matter. She's going to talk about racism and misogyny, and all that stuff. My cousin watched it, and he's like, I'm like, okay, so tell me about it. Spill the beans, spill the tea. How much of this stuff is in there? And he's like, none of it. And I'm like, wait. I heard that she's trying to take his job. And he's like, no, she was offered to be a 007, but she refused. And
Oh,
then I
yes, I
told
remember
somebody,
this.
yeah, I told somebody about that. I'm like, okay, so apparently she was just offered and she completely refused. And that should be a good thing, because she doesn't want to be like a second 007, right? She wants to be her own number or whatever. And then that's when people moved the goalpost and said, well, she was still offered, so it's still considered woke. And I'm like, that's
not what
that's
woke it. Like,
reaching. You're
yeah.
reaching. You're trying to find something to be angry at. And it's this is not good for your mental health for you to
No.
keep thinking like this. Like, I stopped thinking like this a long time ago because I realized it was ruining my mental health, and I was proven wrong so many times. Like, if something is bad and if something is woke, then yeah, boom. But after a while, like, not I mean, unless it's Netflix where you can find that stuff all the time. I haven't really been seeing it much currently in movies. And what I mean currently, I mean, like, I don't know, at least this year, from what I know, from what I remember.
Yeah, and honestly, at least for my own kind of thinking, when I dabbled into that, when I talked about that kind of stuff, it really like made me hate everything. And I felt like that was super unhealthy. Like, I want to enjoy these things. That's what is good about reading comics. I'm not doing it because I hate it, But I got to a point where I was like, this just isn't good. Like, I shouldn't hate everything that's announced. I mean, I can be critical. There's a huge difference. But calling something woke just because it's female led, like they did with Prey, was ridiculous. And I think kind of brings up this idea of, I seen a video the other day, and I no hate at all. There was nothing wrong with the video. It was the Daily Bugle, who comes around sometimes. He's hilarious.
I love that guy.
I know, he's funny, but he did a video because Harley Quinn 18 came out, and it had a panel that people didn't like, where Luke Fox said about something. I don't remember exactly. I read the book. It was
It's
good.
he's like, yeah,
Homophobia or
fighting this is hard. But fighting systematic racism and homophobia is even harder. And I said, that's very true.
yeah, and that's the thing. He did a video kind of mocking that, and it was how one-sided things are. So yeah, okay, I can
Like, you could say it's
entertain.
like, oh, well, it's out of place, especially since, I don't know, maybe they're doing something serious in the comics since I don't read Harley Quinn. I don't know. Um, but
It
I'm like,
wasn't
yeah,
out
this
of
looks
place
out,
though.
it wasn't out of place. Okay.
No, he was talking about his new job and what he's trying to do for the world as a whole,
Oh,
instead of
that's so
punching things in the
nice.
face. Yeah. And that's the thing. You take things out of context and it looks really bad. But he did this video, and he initially posted it, and I'm like, context helps. And he's like, no context can help. I'm like, in this situation, it does. I agree. Sometimes no context helps. But he's like, well, they never show the other side. I'm like, you realize the other side is being racist and homophobic, right? Like, of course, they're not going to show that in comics.
And that's not you saying, oh, you're just using the buzzwords. No, like, this is like say he's talking about job applications
right.
or something like that. The discussion will come up of racism and homophobia when hiring somebody.
Yeah, and it's silly, but he did a little video where he talked about showing the other side of the arguments. Comics don't show, they only show one side, right?
Mm.
But it was actually kind of very weird to me. Because it was showing the other side, and I get it was supposed to be like hyperbolic or whatever, but the one was like show Dazzler, and she said, to help Border Patrol, let's round up some illegals.
I don't know why that sounded so funny to me.
But it's just, have you ever heard a superhero being like, we need to get them their illegals? Like, that's not a heroic thing to do. That's the issue. The issue here is what they're trying to do is show, even if you go to the length of universal truths, not being a terrible person, they're not going to round up illegals. Nobody ever would say that in comics. And the other ones were like,
I mean, unless it was back, not like back in the day where they just didn't care. I don't know.
maybe, I don't know. And then the other one was like, America is great. Can you imagine living somewhere like Saudi Arabia? Yeah, but comics all the time talk about like America being good. I can't wrap my mind around the idea of showing the other side of certain issues. Now there are issues that are forced in. We, talked about that before. But
Mhm.
why would you want to read a superhero comic that was trying to take away gay people's rights or women's rights, or make a wall and stop them, they're illegals? Like, I can't wrap my head around it. I don't know, like, I just feel like those aren't super heroic things to do.
I mean, from that one comic you showed me where it's that black we were it was about our Black History Month superheroes, and he's a black hero, and somebody was like, oh, I'm trying to be like you, criminal and fighting criminals and stuff, and he was
Oh
like, I'm
god.
black.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god, I forget what that was. That was on our But yeah, I remember. Oh my god, it's Image, and I can't think of the name of it. Yes.
I
Oh,
thought it
and
was
the
War or something.
oh my god, no, Night something. I cannot
Nighthawk.
remember.
It's got to
Nighthawk.
be Hawk. Because I say so.
It was Nighthawk.
Yeah! Let's go! I was right about the Hawk!
And the other one was that I found interesting was Superman flying. Remember that real popular kind of outrageous cover that people got mad about where it said like the son of Kal-El, where it was like there is no planet B or whatever.
Yeah.
It was Superman flying over that saying climate change is a hoax.
He can make climate change though.
Yeah, that doesn't work in comics. He can literally change it. That cover was
And don't
silly
they have
anyways.
they have a villain called like there's a villain who controls the weather. I think he's a Flash villain.
Weather Wizard.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I understand there is bad writing out there. There is very bad writing. There is bad writing when it comes to enforcing wokeness or yeah, I guess see, whenever I think of woke, I think of like racial injustice. So whether it would be LGBTQ, racial injustice, women's rights, you can do those subjects really well. We've seen those subjects done really well before. So saying it's woke to me is lazy. I don't know. I think there's a lot better critiques you can come up to. And I just got off on a 20-minute rant about wokeness when we were talking about women. My apologies. Oh, goodness gracious. I just find it interesting. And nothing against him at all. What's that?
I do think it's an interesting discussion to have.
It is because there and to be fair, like that one about homophobia, if you want to show the other side of that, Peacemaker did that. Peacemaker did that. And we saw this group of white supremacists, basically, is what they were. And it was written really well. And they actually, to be fair here, they actually covered the climate change too in that last episode with the butterflies and taking away free will.
Yeah, I was actually extremely. I'm going back to Son of Kal-El now. When I heard that, they have an entire issue on climate change, and I'm like, I was actually very excited because I was finally on it, and I was like, okay, I can finally read this issue, and so I'm reading it, and I'm like, but where was it?
It was just a cover.
And there was only one thing where like he went all the way down to the bottom of the deep, the deep ocean and stuff. And they're like, "What is this kraken here?" Or not a kraken, but it was a monster. And they're like, "Well, apparently we haven't been taking care of our oceans enough to where all the way down there it's suffocating her, so she has to go up." And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and it did make sense, but that was it. I think a lot of that had to do with Tom Taylor's from Australia, and over there they were doing school strike for climate change. So I think he was trying to support like his local community with that.
So
it was just
context.
Like, yeah, it was just like a special thing for his community that they did, and I thought that was sweet. But also it caused a lot of outrage, and I was like, there are actual characters like. That's a good explanation, but there are really good dedicated characters you could use to do a great climate change story. You could bring in Poison Ivy. You could bring that's basically she's an eco-terrorist. I know it's not quite the same, but you could use that storyline. Same with Swamp Thing or Floronic Man. There are Storm. Like you have to use the world that you build. You have to use those rules. So if you're gonna you have to have an allegory. Because in the worlds that we live in now is not the same as those. So if there is some big climate crisis in this world, in order to, prevent it, they could literally just have, Mr. Terrific come up with a gadget and he's so smart and oh my God, it saves the world. There are, with those kind of like tough subjects, it seems like an allegory is the best way to go. You know what I mean?
But I'm too dumb to understand allegories. Just tell me what it is. I won't get offended. It's not a big deal.
You won't. But everyone else will. Like, I seen today the new Star Wars coming out. They're doing an allegory for living in, I guess, the Trumpian era of the United States. And now people are mad. It just, you can't win for trying half the time. There's always somebody on one side or the other that are gonna be pissed off at you. There's just,
But I've always
oh,
wondered,
people.
is using, so they're like, okay, so this is an allegory for, let's say they made, something is made and it's an allegory for gay people. And the thing was swamps or something. The swamp is an allegory for gay people. Why not just say, not just say gay people? Like,
Okay, I think you're thinking about this too hard. They wouldn't use it for a gay person. What they would do, like, and what they have done in the past was Extrano, an older queer villain from the 80s, got basically a disease, and it was an allegory for AIDS. It wasn't called AIDS, but it was supposed to raise awareness about AIDS.
then why
And
not just call it AIDS?
because it's comics, I don't know. I don't have a
What
good
does
answer for
comics
that.
have to do with that?
I don't know. I don't know.
I thought we could talk about anything in comics.
You can, but you see what happens. Just like talking about something like that will offend somebody.
Then
It
won't an
doesn't.
allegory offend them too?
Sometimes, yeah, but a lot of times with these stories, they don't actually get it. Like there are
Hey,
a
they're just
lot
like
of
me.
no, there are a lot of stories like that that people don't understand. Like it's really weird to me that Alan Moore came out and said the original Swamp Thing was about a girl getting her period. That one I don't see.
Is
Okay,
it,
all right.
well, what's the story with Swamp Thing? Does he change every month? Is he in pain all the time, wondering about the green, and the green is just our cramps?
No, it's basically him evolving into that point. So I think it's more along the lines of you got your green and now you're evolving into a woman, more like. But it's amazing to me that like even like have you ever seen Alien?
Nah, I've never been interested.
I'm not really an alien person either, but that was like about women's reproductive rights. Like, you know, have you ever seen that weird scene where like the baby burst out of its belly? Like the
Oh,
baby
yes.
alien? Yeah, that was about like forcing a pregnancy upon somebody. So forcing this little thing. Like they have allegories all over that people don't understand or kind of just don't realize it.
I would have
But
never have realized an alien coming out of a person was an allegory for something
no,
else. I just think it's an alien popping out.
and that's why I think a lot of it is about universal truths, you know, being kind to each other, being respectful, respecting other people's freedoms and liberties. Those kind of universal truths work really well. And that's why they're afraid to touch the more dodgy subjects, so to speak. It's weird. People are weird.
I'm weird too.
You are weird.
Yeah.
Um
Weird people forever.
we never ever stay on subject. You realize that, right?
Yeah, I know.
But to be fair, I wanted to save a lot of the discussion about Batgirl and about well, Batgirl. Cuz for tomorrow. So
Not
that
enough
was
about
kind of
Batgirl, but we will.
we will. We will, we promise. So make sure you watch yesterday's stream. Oh wait, yeah. But yeah, is there anything we missed before we wrap up?
Nope, because it's mostly going to be discussed in the. Wait a minute.
The stream. Yeah.
You asked me what movie, female-led movies. Did you ever say yours?
Honestly, it's so hard. I only said Wonder Woman. Cuz I
Vixen.
Vixen would be so odd. See, and they could do a storyline with that about the impact of endangered species and stuff like that.
It would still be an outrage depending on who they hire. Like if they hire a woman who is known to be biracial, and because she's
Mhm.
biracial, she is a little bit lighter skinned, than somebody who is darker skinned, then that's going to cause a kerfuffle. And if and then for darker skinned women, they already have the stereotype of not being attractive enough, and so that will cause outrage on the other side. And I'm just like, just hire a dark skinned woman. I don't care.
Yeah.
Shush.
Yeah.
Shush.
Like, I don't know her name off the top of my head. Michonne, the girl that plays Michonne, she also plays in
She's
Black.
amazing.
She is drop dead gorgeous. I absolutely love her. She should be the next Vixen. Oh my god, she would be perfect.
I would accept that.
Yeah, I would accept it. No
But
outrage.
it has to
these
be
ladies.
specific hair. I do not want the poofy hair one that's current in the comics. I like her short hair, like the one she has like originally, or the one she had in what's it called? Justice League of America comic.
Yes.
Yeah. Or even her braids. She looked really good in braids too.
Ooh, her braids would be pretty. I know, I like her Selena hair, her short, but like, yeah, I like her braids too. Like, see, that's the thing with characters that we're really close to, like that with you, with her, or me with Selena. I am overly critical, and not because I'm being mean or anything like that, but it's just because I like that character so much. Like, just the highest praise you can get from me, like when it comes to Zoe Kravitz, was that she's my favorite Catwoman, just because I thought she did such a great job with that role. That's the people you have to win over. If you can win over the people like that, the rest is gravy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what we're saying is we need a Vixen and a Selena movie.
Yes.
Stat. Put it in the 10-year plan. Oh, you know what? I do want to send you something. When WB did their when Warner Brothers on Thursday did their call, they had this really weird thing on one side of it. For the action stuff, they had male centric, and for the unscripted reality stuff, they put female centric. I'm not even kidding. I was shocked.
How did that work out?
I was so surprised, because it's like, right now, superheroes have become so mainstream. I don't know that I would play that.
Also, like, some people need to learn or understand how to write women. Sometimes it's not with women, and sometimes it is with women. It's just like, just be a normal person.
Mix.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? I was like, are you serious? Like,
now lean back. Now lean in. What does that mean?
I don't know. Apparently, HBO Max owns fandoms, and Discovery is now genredoms. What is a genredom? I've never heard that.
I've never heard of that either. But what do they mean by unscripted, lean back, and comfort viewing?
Unscripted is like reality shows.
Oh,
and
God.
I think lean backs means like you're relaxing in your chair instead of on the edge of your seat.
But being on the edge of your seat is fun.
I know. I'm always on the edge of my seat.
They're doing this again. They're genderfying. Genderfying? Is that how you call it?
Yeah.
They're
I mean, close enough.
to crap.
I'm like, I can't. I was actually extremely surprised that they let this, because this was public, right? The whole call was public. I'm like, oh, you guys are so dumb. So dumb. Like, nothing like adding some stereotypes here.
Sometimes I want to watch a Superman film, a good one, and sometimes I want to watch Gordon Ramsay cook. It shouldn't be one or the other. It should be both.
It should be a happy mix. And then you're going to get the most diverse audience, the biggest audience, if you can have a decent level of all types of fans.
Oh my gosh, I just realized something. I mean, I doubt they're going to do this, but think about it. What if, like, when the merger happens, you have to, like, not make a new account, but you have to be sure to put in your sex. And with your sex that you put in, that's what they're going to be recommending you, not what you watched, but what your sex is.
So, put in non-binary.
There is no non-binary on the freaking option. Unless it is. I don't know. I didn't fill mine out.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. They're gonna
But,
recommend you
since they have
whatever they
male and
can.
female skew, they're not gonna put non-binary.
That's true. That's true. I can't believe people haven't kind of got irritated with this because I seen it and I'm like, you're fucking oh, okay. 1950s thinking. Here we come.
Oh, man. I don't watch a lot of reality team I've
Me
never
either.
watched reality
Me
TV now that I think
either.
about it. Like, every time I do, it's because somebody else is watching it, and I'm like, "What the heck is 90 Days Fiancé?"
I find more entertainment watching commentary channels make fun of that kind of stuff than I do in
Yeah,
actually watching it. I have no interest.
I'm the same.
So freaking weird, Warner Brothers making weirdo mistakes already, and you're 2 days into the game of the new merger. Okay, sure.
This is actually pretty sexist.
Yeah. God, I'm
Guys
so
can't
glad
watch
I'm not the
animal
only one that
stuff.
thought that.
Guys
I'm
can't
so
watch cooking shows. You wanna
there's
learn the
probably
new Gordon Ramsay, recipe 2-pad. You're not a girl.
yeah, there's probably a lot of housewives in their 40s and 50s
I will
watching
never
some
understand why people watch that. I don't get it.
Gordon Ramsay.
No, Real Housewives
Oh yeah,
of
I have no idea. I don't
freaking
think
I
I've
don't know
ever
how many.
watched more than 60 seconds of it. It's
I
so
haven't
weird.
watched 1 nanosecond of it.
I find the whole thing really weird. And I don't see why women are interested in that. And I don't know. I would think men would be more interested in it because it's a bunch of broads. I don't know. I said broads after I called them sexist.
Is
Oops.
broad really sexist though?
Yeah, no. We're gonna make it not sexist. Yeah, it's irritating. That I thought that was funny because I'm that's really dumb. It's so dumb. Quit thinking that way. Get the whitest amount of people to your show. That's what matters.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right, guys. Make sure you guys also check out Bianca's channel. It will be in the description, and I'll also put a link to her short of She-Hulk, which was awesome, and our stream from last night where we'll dive real deep into the Batgirl. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
We will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.